Thank you. One of the things that I noticed in our passage, and especially as you come to this time where Jesus dies and rose again, there's that really clear perspective on how it goes from what seems to be tragedy into a triumph. And that's a huge difference because whenever we see or attend a funeral, it overcomes us with tragedy, that there is an end to life. And then here this passage breaks into us a new coming, a new part of life and reality for those who believe. One of the things is that it is termed like a triumph over the grave. I like the way this Matthew, and I'd seen it before, but I've never noticed it. You ever been like that? Andrea sends me to the cupboard to get something, and I see it, but I don't notice it. And in this passage, it keeps on coming that they looked, they saw, they see, and they've been asked to do that over and over again in this particular passage. But it opens up with, after the Sabbath, at dawn, on the first day of the week. So after the period of rest, and they've laid Jesus to rest, it says, at dawn. So the sun is not up. And for those who were up nice and early this morning, you would have noticed that there is that redness in the sky this morning, that as it caught the clouds, the ray of sun catches the clouds, and it's beautiful and red. And there's just a nice light, a dimness of light to be able to see things. And it's at that particular time, it says, on the first day of the week. And I think Matthew is trying to draw and make an actual point of it, that to go back for the first day where God says, let there be light. The picture was already given to us that the earth was formless and in darkness. And on the first day, the first thing that God says is, let there be light. And here there seems to be a breaking in of an era where light is actually coming in. That life is no longer now bound by birth and then death. There is an extended period now that there is something beyond death. And it goes. So, and it says, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went to look at the tomb. So Matthew wants to do for us in this passage 4 things. He wants to record for us the events that describe the resurrection and the authority of Jesus. The 4 events are that an angel appears at the tomb. The second thing is that the appearance of Jesus to the women. The third thing is the testimony of the guards. And then Jesus meets the disciples in Galilee. 4, he says, these are the proofs that he says, I want to give you. The other Gospels actually put in more than that. But he says, I want you to just look at these 4. Matthew does something interesting in each one, and I kind of noticed that in the passage, it comes across that he's going to tell 2 events. Here's about the resurrection, and then he's going to tell a third one, and it's the opposite. I want to compare 2 positives. Here's an opposite, and then he closes with another one. So, the angel at the tomb. There is a violent earthquake, for an angel of the Lord came down from heaven and going to the tomb, rolled back the stone and sat on it. Seems like every time there's a major event that God is doing, he wants to preface it with an earthquake. He did when Jesus was dying and the earth was taking and soaking up his blood, and then he was being buried. There's an earthquake. And then when he's been raised from the dead, there's an earthquake. When he was giving the law to Moses and to the Israelites, there's an earthquake. When Elijah is wondering and seeking whether or not there's life and meaning, and have I wasted my time and I'm as useless as, there's an earthquake. So sometimes it feels like the earth speaks before we actually see. That the Lord came down, the angel of the Lord came down and was going to the tomb and rolled back the stone and sat on it. So the disciples didn't move it. The guards didn't move it. There is an angel of the Lord that moves the stone, and he sits on it. And his appearance was like lightning, and his clothes were as white as snow. And the guards were so afraid of him that they were shocked and became like dead men. I like the picture that he describes, that here, you can imagine the guards, and one of the guards sort of going to his wife and said, "Oh, I've got some overtime tonight." "Oh, what sort of job have you got on tonight? Is it going to keep you all night?" "Yeah, it's going to keep me all night." "Well, is it dangerous?" "No, not at all." He said, "We're guarding a dead man. He's not about to do a runner, is he? So what better job in the world can you get? This is going to be easy money. Not a problem." And then to find that these guards who are used to fighting battles, they're used to fighting bigger men than they are, they have a structure and a plan how to have and engage in different circumstances. And here in this particular one, it is so out of their realm, they actually become like the bloke who's supposed to be in the tomb. They're like dead men. And then it says, but, or and. It's sort of like he wants to make the connection, Matthew. But the angel said to the women, "Do not be afraid." He doesn't say that to the guards. Why does he not say it to the guards? "Don't be afraid, I haven't come to harm you guys." Why wouldn't he say, all of you guys, don't be afraid? But the angel says it to the women. Why? Why would he pick on the women? He says, "Do not be afraid, for I know you are looking for Jesus." The soldiers are hired men. The soldiers are not sympathetic to the cause. They've been instrumental of some of their battalion of crucifying Jesus. So there's no favours for them. They're not looking for Jesus, they're guarding him. But the angel says, "You don't fear, for I know you're looking for Jesus." Kind of the hint is that they are afraid also. And there is this interesting mix that Matthew just wants to put over and over again, is that I know you're looking for Jesus who was crucified. He's not here, he has risen, just as he said, "Come and see the place where he lay, and then go quick. He is risen." But in our next section, they leave the tomb filled with joy and afraid. If there is a context for us as believing, we can have these two emotions for us. One is that we can be filled with joy and also afraid. How is it that we do that? I know that when I first met Andrea and she invited me to church, and I was up visiting my grandparents with my parents. I said, I might just go out for a walk. And I come and I walk and I stand outside there. And I know the church service is about to start. And I am kind of got this eager feeling of joy. There's something here that I want, but I'm afraid. And it doesn't seem to disappear, because the circumstances in which we come is that I don't know what God will do to me next. I don't know what he will reveal to me. I don't know what he will expose me to. I don't know what he will call me to. So there's this mixture of there's something I need. I want to have something outside of myself that gives me direction and purpose and meaning in life. And then, but I'm afraid of what he might do to me or call me to. So he says, don't be afraid. And then he gives them, the women here, a message. He's not here. He has risen. Come and see. Come and have a look. I want you to actually not just see with your eyes, but use all of your senses to put your head into the tomb. He's not here. Use those, and also remember what he said. Just as he said, come see the place where he is laid. He's risen. He had just told you that. 4 times he had told you that. So you've heard it with your ears, but now I want you to have a look with your eyes. Come and see. Because sometimes, we hear things and we might believe them, but deep down inside of them, we don't have a place or a context to put them in. We need our eyes as well as our ears. So come and see the place where he lay. And then go quickly. This is good news. I want you to tell the disciples, I know that the distress that they've been in when they watched me die and how they fled away from the tomb. They left fearful, wondering everything we worked for has now been lost. So go quickly. Tell the disciples, he has risen from the dead. He's going ahead of you to Galilee. There you will see him. He does it again. There you will see him. Go to a place that's familiar to you. Go to the place where the ministry started. Go to the place where you will see the transfiguration of Jesus. Go to that place, that mountain, and there you will see him. The testimony, the first one, the angels. The second one is that the women did hurry off from the tomb, afraid and yet filled with joy. And they ran to tell the disciples, and suddenly Jesus met them. As soon as they embarked on the journey to seeing the disciples with a message about Jesus, they actually meet him. They met Jesus. And he says, greetings. And the idea of saying greetings and why we greet people is to throw on them some joy. G'day, how you going? Good morning, good afternoon. Like we want to throw on you some sort of positive affirmation. And that's what it even says in the Greek here, where it says greetings, and it carries the idea, rejoice. Women, I want you to rejoice. I want you to realize that this is a great day. And so they do. He counters or says, I want you left with joy and I want to fill it up some more. Is that how you meet people? Is that how you come along and journey with them? Is that you start with a greeting to bless them? It's a joy, or you're in a joyful spot, but I want to increase your joy. Jesus is wanting to increase your joy. And he says, and they came to him. They grabbed hold of his feet and they worshipped him. They came to him. He comes to them and they come to him. Sometimes you can walk into a building or a church service or a place and you're there and you're ready to go through the motions, but not to come to him. I remember speaking to a guy, he was running a business. He said, I like going to church because it's a place, he said, I don't hear anything about what he says, but I like going there because it's a place where I can be quiet and I can sit and reflect. Here is what Jesus is saying. What I want to have happen is that you go on your way and I'm going to meet you. He is going to meet you. He wants you to meet him. And then when Jesus speaks after doing the greeting, the very first thing is, don't fear. The two things that have got, joy, I want to increase that, and fear. And he says, don't fear. You need to speak into your fear. It's going to be there. How many times I want to not talk? How many times I've been asked and or given an opportunity, and sometimes I've remained silent because of fear. And Jesus is saying, no, I want you to speak. I actually enjoy and encourage the young fellows, whether at school or I want to listen to your voice. I know you think it'll be awkward. I know that you'll find it being difficult, but I actually enjoy to hear your voice. So Jesus speaks into both of them. And then he says, go and tell the brothers to go to Galilee, and there they will see me. There they will see me. He actually has just reiterated exactly the same thing as what the angel had said. Don't fear. Tell the brothers, go to Galilee, I'll meet you there. And Jesus now says the same thing. Matthew seems to go out of his way to make the point that of looking for the occasions where there's more than one witness. He doesn't use just one witness. He always uses two. And there was two there. And he finds it and just makes sure that the scripture says, always on the testimony of two witnesses. Here is a testimony. And I found it. Jesus said the same thing. Angels said the same thing. You can marry them up. You can trust them that they're saying the same thing. Because then the third witness that he wants to give us to this account is found in verse 11. While the women were on their way, some of the guards went into the city and reported to the chief priests everything that had happened. So while the women were on their way, guess what? Some of the soldiers were on their way as well. They're going into the city. The women are probably heading off to either a village outside or somewhere safe. But they're both on a journey. Everybody is on a journey. And so these guards go into the city and report to the chief priest everything that had happened. Chief priest Caiaphas, I actually don't know how to tell you this, but all of a sudden there was an earthquake. And by the way, then an angel appeared, and this guy, mate, he's really like white, really, really white, and really bright. You sort of can't sort of focus on him. And he rolls the stone away. And the women were there, and there's nobody. So it says they reported everything that had happened. And then the chief priests had to meet with the elders, and they devised a plan and gave the soldiers a large sum of money, telling them, you are to say his disciples came through the night and stole him away while we are asleep. If this report gets to the governor, we will satisfy him and keep you out of trouble. Isn't it amazing how much money is used when you want to perpetuate a lie? here is, like, it's even not a great, brilliant plan. All you have to do is ask a couple of questions. If you were all asleep, how do you know it was the disciples who took the body? It makes no sense. By the way, you want to confess that you were asleep and you know the trouble that you get into? A group of soldiers in Acts were supposedly asleep when Peter disappeared out of the prison, and they're all executed. That was the standard charge. So there's holes in your story, but now they have been hired to make sure that the tomb was secured. Now they're being hired to tell a lie and perpetuate it. It's funny how you can be on a slippery slope. Oh, I can do this little thing and I don't really care about it, but then later on you might be asked to do something more. And so you end up going down a deeper and deeper hole. If the report gets to the governor, we will satisfy and keep you out of trouble. I imagine, like, if Christians are living life with joy and fear, or joy and wavering, how does a person who doesn't believe live life? The picture I get from these soldiers is that we can be like gamblers, or they can be like gamblers. I'm always hoping to win. I'm always hoping to get ahead. I want to strive, even though I know it's not true. You can buy my lips. You can buy thing just to get me out of trouble. And you not only smooth my lips over with money, but then you made me feel secure. That you will speak to our top dog boss and say, you're secure, you can get away with this. And so they leave. And this story is widely circulated among the Jews to this very day. Then it says, then the 11 went to Galilee, to the mountain where Jesus had told them to go. When they saw him, they worshipped him, and some doubted. See how that dual thing, like sometimes we think it's a bad thing. And the word for doubt is not just questioning, but also wavering. Like Peter, he asked to Jesus, can I walk on the water too? Yeah, sure, come on out, Peter. Just call me Jesus, I'll come. And he comes out and he starts to walk on water, and he looks around at the waves and he looks at the wind, and his eyes are off Jesus and he begins to sink. Why did you doubt? Why did you waver? Why did you take your eyes off me? And Jesus doesn't condemn them for that. He turns around and he says, then Jesus came near to them, even to the wavering ones. He comes near to them. And as he does, he says, all authority in heaven and earth has been given to me. All authority in heaven and on earth. That's a picture, but I think the part that really grabs me, it's given to me. I didn't go out and grasp it. I didn't go out and swindle it. As we watch leaders, they fight and they struggle and they will bemean other people to get the position of authority that they want. They sometimes put on a facade where I show myself better than I really am. I am a friend of yours and I will be with you. I will do this and I will do that. But here, Jesus is given. It's such a joy when a role in whatever organisation is given to somebody and you know they deserve it. And they're just the right person for it. They have the right kind of agenda and heart and power. And here it says, Jesus says, all authority in heaven and earth has been given to me. Therefore, go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. He says, go to all nations. Previously, he'd been telling his disciples, you're to go to the lost sheep of Israel. This is your confined space. But now he says, I want you to go to all nations, everywhere. And then he says, you're to make disciples, not making people who are just adherents or believers. I want you to make them disciples. And then I want you to baptize, give them the symbol of ownership, that I am now owned by the Father, the Son, and the Spirit, teaching them to obey everything. So not just baptizing them and leaving them, but that they might be encouraged to grow in the knowledge of Jesus. That as I am, and I am with you always to the very end of the age. Not only is his borders extended, not only the authority is everywhere, but now he says, I will never leave you. I am with you always. So what does it mean for us? If you are seeking Jesus, don't be afraid to look. Look at the evidence. Watch out for the lies. If you have him and you've met him, be baptized. You might be in another group where you have been baptized. Make disciples and make them with humility. Being good. Being Christ-like. Being an example. We're going to go and sing a song, and just as the guys are coming, if you need to reflect about some of these things, to me this has been a passage that has really changed all of my perspective. Our last song is